Meet Tony the Toilet Buddy.
Aren't you a spicy one?
Each week we break down another Better Call Saul episode in order. This episode goes to extremes with sitcom-like comedy in the first half, then serious drama in the second. And we're at the halfway point of the season, so please subscribe and you'll help me reach a huge milestone. I've got 32 details you might not know in Season 1, Episode 5.
Alpine shepherd boy.
This almost looks like a Breaking Bad desert scene, but we're in Chuck's neighbor's driveway for the immediate aftermath of Chuck's chicanery at the end of the last episode. I'm ashamed at how long I spent looking at this, but the bill and rock are now in a different spot, and there's evidence that it's not the same rock or the same bill. It's subtle, but the show asks the real homeowners not to cut the grass or do other yard work throughout the season, so it reflects Chuck not doing these things. There's the return of the Breaking Bad style 5 knock. I'm not counting this since he's still wearing the space blanket from last time.
Look, we know you're in there. You're casting a shadow through your peephole.
I have a condition. I can't go outside.
You were able to come outside to steal your neighbor's newspaper.
In the state of New Mexico, there was a 2-part test.
I cannot believe it, but this is Officer Jaycocks. It looks like they reused the same name badge from Breaking Bad's Officer Jaycocks.
Jaycocks, you okay?
And he's not the only Jaycocks in this episode, more on that later.
Have an objectively reasonable basis.
They intentionally changed the APD badges so they're not impersonating officers.
Hey, Tommy, come around here, would you?
A whole lot of camp stove fuel. Guy sure as shit sounds like a tweaker.
You see what he did to the Breaking Bad?
Is he coming out or are we going in?
I'll let you in, but you have to leave your electronic devices outside. Definitely no tasers. I can't emphasize that enough.
They mixed in the sound of a dental drill, which is pretty fitting. Here's the park bench from Breaking Bad, but they changed the phone number from the original uncallable one to the callable one introduced later.
If they've accused you of Breaking Bad, better call Saul.
This is the 4th distinct callable number they've shown us so far, and that's our 14th counter. A surprising number of you asked for a counter last week, so now we've got one. Now the episode follows the rule of 3 as Jimmy visits potential clients, and the third time's the charm. Just like in Breaking Bad when the 4 amigos visit a box factory, a tortilla factory, and a pest control business. There I found the tone to be a bit too silly, but here it works.
This is my assistant's car. My Mercedes is in the shop.
Can't be driving a piece of crap to customer meetings. You gotta present that successful image.
Yeah, right.
The rust here is unrealistic because that's a plastic bumper. Although he didn't lease a Mercedes, Jimmy's wearing the best of his 4 brown suits with Howard-like pinstripes to make him look the most successful. If I were him, I'd just wear the blue one, but maybe it needs to be cleaned after the billboard stunt. This house was the runner-up to be Gretchen and Elliot's house in Felina, without the taxidermy. They added most of it for this scene, but this house did have a room filled with it. It was too small to film in.
Jim, I saw you on the TV, that billboard thing. Inside the first, you ain't afraid to put yourself out there. And inside the second, you believe in the real America.
The fly-swatting hand of government is crushing the spirit of entrepreneurship.
Taxes, OSHA requirements.
It's un-American.
Jimmy thinks he's hunting clients, but the mountain lion behind Rick versus the gazelle behind Jimmy indicates that Jimmy's the prey.
Jim, I think you are just the lawyer I need.
The writer and director of this episode are both new to the Breaking Bad universe, although this is the only episode either of them did, and Bradley's the only writer to have only written one.
I want to secede from the United States, a sovereign state, immune to the business-killing regulations of the country in which it geographically lies. We are going to be America's Vatican City.
Mr. Show had an episode where they seceded from the US as well.
Mr. Show is a sovereign nation!
We are a sovereign nation!
I made my own money, which I used to pay myself for groceries which I gathered from the forest.
I'm your man.
Yeehaw! Yeehaw!
Big Ricky appears on that painting up there. Also, the table legs are antlers and they're on top of a bear.
What's your rate?
$450 an hour.
The hell with hourly. I want you on retainer. How about 1 million even? Would you like that in cash?
Those look real so far. It looks like he's got exactly $1 million in his safe, along with at least 7 guns. These bills have lots of great details, such as his signature, both as the treasurer and the secretary of the treasury.
Tax-free and backed by the full faith and credit of the sovereign Sandia Republic.
All the bills have the same serial number. Otherwise, he would have accepted them, right?
You are getting in on the ground floor.
Mr. McGill, hi. Roland Jaycocks.
In a way, Roland Jaycocks is related to Officers Jaycocks because Vince uses this name as a nod to his wife Holly's maiden name. He's also used it in The X-Files.
So what do you think, Dr. Jaycocks?
And now's a good time to shout out channel member Jaycocks, unrelated, and Officer Jaycocks' real-life child who commented on my video with him in it.
God, what was it like climbing that billboard? Patent law is something you...
Oh, yeah. I do so many patent cases, I should probably just go ahead and specialize already.
Would you mind signing a non-disclosure agreement? It's my idea of a life lifetime if Fisher-Price or Play School ever got their hands on this.
No worries.
He's lifting the tarp so carefully because he previously knocked off the tank lid and broke it. You'll see that at the end.
My wife and I have 2 boys. Toilet training them? Night.
There's a fly.
Meet Tony the Toilet Buddy.
Oh, yeah. That's the way. Gosh, you're big. You're so big. My goodness, look at you.
Oh, is that what I heard in Gliding Overall?
Gosh, you're big.
The Roland actor recorded the toilet voice about 30 minutes earlier.
Fill me up, Chandler. Put it in me. Give it to me, Chandler. I want it all.
What do you think?
It's a little sexual.
Sexual?
Wealthier Pacific Rim nations, they'll love this, the crazy bastards.
I created this for children.
Viagra was originally invented to treat hypertension. Well, look how that turned out.
You're completely disgusting, you know that?
Hey, buddy, you're the one with the sex toilet.
I found the Alpine shepherd boy.
This real house looked just like this, minus all the Hummels, and the show gifted the homeowner this Harmar stair lift who had a use for it in real life.
Oh.
This is really just called Shepherd's Boy. A different Hummel figure, Chimney Sweep Boy riding on Pig, was the target of Marie's reignited shoplifting in Breaking Bad.
The shepherd boy Hummel, that's gonna go to your nephew Clarence?
As long as he finishes college.
The writer viewed the Hummels as fake art and liked that they're literally hollow, as Jimmy's being fake to win clients and is figuratively hollow inside.
I want the toe-headed twins to go to Reverend Lawrence's grandson.
I was unfamiliar with this term, and it's spelled T-O-W.
Don't you mean Reverend Haynes?
Very sharp, Mr. McGill. And here I thought all lawyers were idiots.
Only half of us are idiots. The other half are crooks.
Aren't you a spicy one?
Well.
I knew I'd like you when I saw how you saved that poor man on the television.
I do need to bring up my payment. And I'm sorry, but I can't accept S&H green stamps.
Too far, McGill. Those are old stamps that could be redeemed for products from the S&H catalog. They now have no value other than as collector's items.
My fee is $140.
140.
I'll gladly accept 70 today and 70 when I come back with the completed documents.
20, 40.
Those look like real bills and period appropriate. Although this one must be fake as it's unlike the back of any $20 bill I could find.
120, 40.
He snatched that rather aggressively.
Shall we continue, Mr. McGill?
Yes.
Put it on the nail, not the skin.
I can't help it if your toes are too small. They should all be the size of the big toe. That one I can do.
Yeah, that would be attractive.
That is a lie. That joke has never been made before.
How's it go again?
Oh, you're huge, Chandler.
Jimmy, you're violating your NDA. This was shot before the toilet scene, so the Roland actor did the voice for Bob over the phone so he would know how to imitate it.
Is that a piece of corn?
No.
Did you eat corn, Chandler?
The nail polish was going to be red, but red nails were featured so prominently in episode 2 that Bob and Ray asked to change it to blue.
Even your lousy days are more interesting than my good ones.
2 wills and I started a living trust. Whoopee! Old people love me.
Maybe you've got a future in elder law. I watched my grandmother at the end. It's awful what people have to deal with. My scumbag cousin stealing her savings and her pain meds. Getting old sucks. Seniors need someone on their side. Hi, Howard. Oh my God, when?
After all that comedy, the episode takes a sharp turn toward drama.
It's Chuck. Crazy sons of bitches.
You can't do that.
She's intentionally a Breaking Bad character. Although she doesn't have a name, she's the nurse who looked after Brock.
All of this needs to stay on.
No electricity.
I'm getting security.
And she's used to calling security.
Mr. Pinkman, I'm gonna call security.
And this is the same hospital we saw many times in Breaking Bad.
Sir, I need you to get down from there.
What the hell kind of torture chamber you running here?
Tell me about the electricity.
It's real.
Jimmy, in my opinion, Charles should be committed for 30 days of psychiatric observation.
I'd rather not.
That got his attention.
Mr. McGill, my name is Dr. Cruz. Do you know why you're in the hospital?
They tasered me, Jimmy.
Oh, Jesus.
Can you tell me a little more about your situation?
It's not a situation, it's a condition.
Your brother called it an allergy to electricity.
Well, it's an oversimplification. But it's essentially correct. You think I'm crazy?
I never said that.
But you think it. Anyone who's spent more than a few minutes with me knows that this isn't some kind of delusion. Wouldn't you agree, Kim?
Well, I'm not a doctor.
How do you meet the needs of daily life?
I use white gas lanterns. For cooking, I have a camp stove.
Well, that's an effective little trick, isn't it?
Would you mind if I took a moment to speak with your brother?
Jimmy, I want to go home.
Mike's right.
Nobody wants to leave home.
That was a dirty trick.
That wasn't a trick, it was a demonstration. This allergy to electricity isn't real.
I'm not saying it's 100% real, okay? But Chuck is smarter than you and me put together, so we're not talking him out of this.
So you're ready to give up?
That white gas he was talking about, who do you think brings him that? And toilet paper and ice and every other damn thing he needs.
Is that helping or enabling?
To be committed involuntarily, he has to be a danger to himself or others.
And he is. Coleman lanterns indoors, a camp stove. He could burn his house down.
She makes very good points.
You have the power to help your brother. Truly help him.
What would you do?
All I know is he needs help.
Untie him. I'm getting him out of here.
The nurse will bring you the release forms.
This clock has been stuck on 10:25 for many minutes.
Oh boy.
Jimmy, how's he doing?
Better. Resting.
There's our first look at casual Howard, but he's still on brand.
I want you to know that I've talked to the DA, and he absolutely will not sign off on any commitment papers.
Of course you don't want Chuck committed.
No, I don't. Why would I?
I become his legal guardian, and I cash him out of HHM.
Jesus, Jimmy.
I don't know if this sign is real, but it annoys me because it looks like Chuck's room 348 is simultaneously forward and to the right when it's really neither.
The tanning bed must have melted your brain if you think for 1 second.
Guys, Chuck.
I was on the fence till you showed up, but thanks for helping me decide. I'm committing him.
Jimmy, wait. Maybe it's the right thing to do, but you can't do it like this.
I just want to see that son of a bitch sweat, taking my brother home.
It looks like the wrong decision, but it really says a lot about Jimmy's love for Chuck that he doesn't take advantage of this opportunity to screw Howard.
Everything's gonna be all right. Coffee. Coffee it is.
I'm gonna need my...
Yeah. Want to talk about this?
There's nothing to talk about.
You got sick because you saw this story.
I got sick because I went out of my house.
You think this is the return of Slippin' Jimmy, but it's not. I have gotten business off of this. I'm kind of starting to specialize in elder law.
Elder law.
It's awful what people have to deal
The
with.
things the elderly have to deal with.
My
Relatives
scumbag
coming
cousins
after their
stealing
savings.
getting
Getting old
sucks.
sucks. Seniors need someone on their side, so you're looking at them.
Well, that sounds promising.
In a way, Jimmy never stops doing elder law.
Police harassment of a senior citizen. Sorry.
But it has nothing to do with my condition.
I'm a good lawyer. I just needed showmanship. It's just showmanship, Chuck. From here on out, I'm going to play by the rules.
As any lawyer should.
Slippin' Jimmy, he's back in Cicero, dead and buried. We'll see. Where you going?
Someone's gonna make that coffee.
About that instant dismissal of the space blanket, was Chuck exaggerating the symptoms of his disease to extract the truth? Or did Jimmy's explanation put his mind at ease? Or was he just so preoccupied with needing coffee that it suppressed his symptoms?
I'm sure the truth will come out.
If he watched a later season of Matlock, he'd see Bryan Cranston. Skip this part if you don't want a spoiler for the 80s version of Matlock Season 6. Now that's acting. No wonder he wins all the awards.
Single-breasted, light blue, or cream.
Bob actually drew this. This is Casa Tranquila, Hector's nursing home. The Best By dates are in 2014, 2015 for the juice, which is unrealistic for 2002. I assume Jimmy printed this on the underside of sealed cups.
Hello there, James McGill.
He's turning on the charm the same way he will when he'll meet Skylar.
Hello, welcome. How are you this fine morning?
I'm just fine, and how about you?
Like in Breaking Bad, they used people from local assisted living, and not everyone was aware that they were acting. In one take, right after this handshake, a lady barged in and said, "Hi, Bob." She's wearing her The Village at Alameda lanyard, which is a real assisted living community right behind the building used for the exterior of Casa Tranquila.
Enjoy the Jell-O.
It's widely known that this episode was going to be called Jell-O, part of the theme of every season 1 episode title ending in O, but Kraft Foods didn't give permission. It almost seems like they chose the final name out of spite, as it stands out quite a bit, but I can't really think of an O-ended word that would have worked instead, unless they switched the figurine to something like Traveling Trio. What's ironic is that this was the episode that gave them the idea to name every episode with a word ending in O in the first place. Also, this comment pointed out that the O streak still holds in the Spanish episode titles. This has got to be intentional.
In Exodus, the Lord told Moses to make a laver of brass for Aaron and his sons to wash their hands and these in. John?
What are their feet?
Correct?
You can't do it like this.
It is a vintage 2002 episode, although from about 2 weeks before this takes place.
Wait a second, is that Veronica Lake?
She was a famous femme fatale from the 40s, and I think I do see a resemblance.
Oh.
The answer to this one is died, but this just happened to be 3 questions later. If they would have shown the next one, we'd see Saul's name, and the answer could have boosted the Dave counter.
There he is, the man in the booth. John Wilkes Booth, Booth Tarkington.
Booth Tarkington was an acclaimed novelist.
What you reading there? The complete annotated book book of rules for parking validation?
The rules for parking validation are actually pretty simple. Most people get it on the first try.
You'll be pleased to know I have the requisite stickers.
That's fitting since this is the last sticker transaction we see with them.
Will be still my heart.
And you can have this. I'm doing elder law now.
You used to be able to email Jimmy and you'd get this response. Alas, it is no more.
Give me a call if you happen to know any elders.
Good night.
Couldn't have a bad one if I tried.
Here's a detail from the writer of this episode. It began with Jimmy entering through ornate gates, reflecting what he thought practicing law is now going to be. But in the end, he exits through a humble parking gate, reflecting reality. Is he reading the dictionary? That's super dense text. Here's the first Breaking Bad style time lapse. And there's Mike in his familiar habitat at Loyola's. And now a new mystery. Who's this? There's Mike's car in the background, recognizable from Breaking Bad. Her license plate is fittingly from Pennsylvania, and even her registration stickers are correct for Pennsylvania in 2002. And that may be
a secondhand Subaru.
She is a recast Breaking Bad character, but we'll talk about her next week. There's Mike's familiar house from Breaking Bad. He's watching The Awful Truth, which doesn't appear to have a deeper meaning. This is also the first noteworthy long dialogue-free scene. 4 minutes and 47 seconds go by without any meaningful spoken dialogue.
A long way from home, aren't you?
You and me both.
And that's a cliffhanger for next week's episode. And another case of bookends, as this episode begins and ends with police coming to the door. Congratulations and thanks to Chumbubs, who just joined the 1-year members. Also to Ferret Face, TARDIS Man, Ben Hazon, Liam Sturgis, Redox, Knock Me Coker, Kaido, In a Nutshell, Funny Fish, LMAO, Rick SSBM, Williachi, Obama Gangnam Style, Noel, Drew Does Things, Vavris Vavris, Daman Kokos, Patrick Skerik, Grandpa Max Gaming, Senko Dev, Fat Goomba, and Mike Eel, who are now 6-month members. By the way, a couple of you pointed out that there seems to be a digitally inserted car as Chuck crossed the street in last week's video. I'll see if there's a way to reincorporate that car at some point. And yes, the thing I said was a metaphor last week actually is a simile. Please don't tell my mom I made that mistake, she's an English teacher. I need to try to correct my pronunciation of a member name that's a tricky Danish expression. I know I'm gonna butcher it, but here goes. Rolgo meflul. Say hi to the new members: Crazy Cake, Jiddo Woo, Better Eat Schnitzel, Big Uncle Salty, John, Kip, Micho1454, Pinchy, Sigmund, Sus, Lito, Jamie Fairgrieve, Cosmic Curator, Dubium, Pol Valverdu, Damatena Supa, Hot Chomper, Entreon, Seek Squeaks, Yap God, Steven, LC, Gum, Sean Grauerholz, John Way, Meow, Wells, Moo Prophet, Charlie, Kalau, Ula Palf de Gubgub, Asix, Elamadams, Zoidberger, Dank Shunpink, Daryl Andre, Bjorny, Whack-A-Mole, Carson Gay's Biggest Fan, Moss Nesmith, Alex, Juan Martin Fazzotti, William Lucas, L. Samuel, Batterdale, Richard Voss 1, Potato Man, Eric Saab, Austin Bulmer, Emerson Lee, Chris the Shiny Hunter, Gerson G, Adaku, Cyrenate, Damian Vergara, McCleavage, Neep, Meatwad Sprite 68, Tim Lampers, Chainsaw 06, Dan, EZZ, Mouse House, Miles 1R, RS3507, Borelli, Mikush, Glory Chiku, Joshua Mason Wrights, Gabe the Scrub, and Captain Cookie 04. Next week, it's the Mikiest of all Mike episodes.
It's a bad thing that you did.
No electricity, you understand,
Have
Jimmy?
to stay on. I'm getting security.
No, wait.
Come back around. Oh, Lord.
They tasered me, Jimmy.
Oh, and then they did that. What's wrong with these people? They're animals.
They're out to get you, buddy.